You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Kourtney and Kim Take New York. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Kourtney and Kim news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Kourtney and Kim Take New York.
Woo.
Yeah.
Well, hello there, Kardashian fans. I'm your host, Jackie Miranne, and I am very excited to be joined by some new hosts on the roster tonight that you're seeing live on Ustream right now. Let me introduce Ruba Wilson.
Hello.
We have Spicy Mari, who from going forward we'll call you Spicy since we also have another Mari on the panel. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so excited to break it down, and of course we have Mari Fagel, my partner in crime, calling in from New York along with myself. So we are bi-coastal here tonight.
Are you guys out there with the Kardashians?
Episode. What's that?
I said, are you guys out there in New York with the Kardashians?
That's
Jackie
right.
actually was only a couple blocks away, right? Jackie, you live only a couple blocks away from the Gansevoort.
I know, and I'm surprised that I did not see all of this drama going down live, as I literally could be in my pajamas watching the rooftop of this hotel. So you can come find me, I'm sure, based on what I just said. But anyway, whatever.
You just gave your full address.
This is where the end begins. That's what we were being told leading into this episode. And we are going to save that because I'm just getting started on the end of this relationship. We're going to save that because I have so much to say about it for a special segment. We are going to break down the episode, but please stay with us because we're going to debate whether or not we think this marriage was premeditated, the whole thing was television, or if it actually naturally went south. Mari Fagel has thelegallady.com. She's been taking a poll all season long. We're going to save that because it deserves its own segment. I don't know about you guys. You have to agree with me there.
I totally agree on that one.
Yeah.
So we will get to that. So stay with us for that. But let's talk about back-to-back episodes, okay? I just said it. It's where the end begins. There was definitely plenty of drama. This is the Kardashians. That's nothing new.
Right.
Start.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's start with these two trips here in episode 1. The girls go off to Connecticut. The guys go off to Toronto. Not really sure how I'm feeling about Kim acting like the mother here, saying, oh, he's afraid of me anyway. You can't go clubbing, but we're going to go off on a vacation without you. How can she expect him not to want to rebel against that, not to want to go make money, not to want to go make an appearance? You know, he's a guy. He's got to make his own way. And she's telling him he can't go to Toronto and make a club appearance? I totally disagreed with Kim on that.
Look, I'm like, I want to go.
You're ready.
First of all, I'm Team Kim all day long. And I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird because isn't that what Kim does for a living? Like, she goes to clubs and gets paid for appearances. So what makes her think that she's going to tell Hump that she's not going, he's not able to go to a club and make money? I just think that's kind of funny.
Well, in her defense, her issue wasn't necessarily that he was going. It was so much that he went and didn't tell her. At first, she wasn't really feeling it because of the whole trust thing. She just wants to make sure that that's established. But then when he went, that was a little bit of betrayal for her. It was secrets.
But the fact that she was kind of like iffy about it made him not want to tell her.
Oh, yeah, that was a little haterism.
Yeah, exactly, right?
The fact that she even had a second thought that he shouldn't go.
Exactly. So that's why he probably didn't want to tell her.
No, but if she really was that worried about Kris going and making this club appearance, then go with your husband. Even if you're not worried, support your husband.
Right.
Go with your husband.
Totally.
They have been apart more days than they've been together
exactly.
during this marriage.
And this Connecticut trip was not necessary.
Up to Toronto, and you spend it with your husband. You don't go. There's no such thing as a sister's weekend when you're married.
Yeah.
It's called a couple's weekend. They should have gone as two couples. There is already such a red flag that they went two girls off by themselves, and she let her husband go by himself. She should have never. She should have accompanied him.
So in the girls' defense, I'm going to have to say that you do sometimes want to separate from your booze. You can't be with them every single day because then that turns into babysitting. You do want space and time with your family and friends.
You do that when you're like 7 years in your marriage, I think. First of all, they're like fresh off like 2-3 months of being married at that.
No, you have to make them miss you. You can't be booed up every single day.
Get
so I do
outta
agree
here.
with them needing their little weekend getaway. I just don't think that they needed to go to Connecticut. They could have had their weekend getaway in Toronto. If you really wanted to be with him.
I think I've been saying this from the start, Mari, right? You're with me on this. I mean, it's weird to begin with that they're all living together in this one apartment.
That itself is abnormal.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You cannot go away and, Kim has the right to be upset that Kris didn't tell her.
Right.
But she set herself up for failure. Guys are going to be guys. And it's not even like he just wanted to go off for nothing. He went off because he got an opportunity there. She just went off to me and was like, I'm going off to Connecticut. And by the way, you can't go work. And you're going to just sit here in New York, which is not even really like his home to begin with anyway. So what is he just going to – and they're not invited. So I'm with Scott. I'm with Kris.
She's like, on top of that, they're not invited.
Why are they not invited? And Ruba, you're a Kim fan, and you're not even siding with her on this.
Yeah, not on this one. Sorry, Kim. Sorry.
Not invite them.
Because they really don't like their men that much.
Evidently not. That was evidence enough.
Yeah.
No. Kourtney and Scott. Kourtney does like her man because
I hope she likes him.
You see the two of them resolve their fight after Scott comes back from Toronto. It is two totally different worlds from Kris and Kim.
That's
Scott
true.
and Kourtney, they're laughing.
But I feel like Scott and Kourtney's
laugh.
relationship is totally different. I honestly would say that because I feel like, excuse me for saying this, but I feel like Kourtney's somewhat of a pushover when it comes up to Scott, in a sense. In a way, she's kind of whipped.
That.
Yeah, he loves that.
It.
But I feel like in the relationship, we've seen it on the show, like, Scott would go out and drink and act crazy. And she was like, well, that's just Scott. And, I love him no matter what. So I feel like they both have two different
But how about she also knows her man?
Yeah,
like, they know each other. Kim and Kris don't really even know each other. So I don't believe them even liking each other.
Yeah.
That's why she didn't want him around.
I'm so glad you said that because I think, looking at the way, and we're not going to pass over the actual actions in Toronto because Scott was too hilarious. So we are going to talk about that.
Scott is my favorite. I'm Team Scott.
A party in a glass, Jack.
Two ways that the two couples resolve the fights. Perfect example. I totally agree, Spicy. She knows her man. Mm-hmm. They've been going out much longer. They're at a whole different level. So, of course, I don't know if it's her being a pushover or her just being used to Scott and kind of knowing his ways.
Yeah.
They have a different trust level. But here's the thing about Kim. Even if they're newer and she can't trust him right now and they get into a heated fight about it, she didn't even seem that mad really. It almost felt more staged. Like if you're in the new relationship mode and you're really getting into a fight because you really love each other, but there's all these emotions flying, that's not even what that fight was to me. That fight was Kim just coming home and being like, how
just
dare
confronting
you?
him about it.
Right. How dare you
nothing.
let me find out on Twitter?
But you know what? To be completely honest, I felt like this whole episode, the last two episodes, were really staged in a sense. There was very, very, very contrived, and it had a certain tone to both of the episodes, and you kind of knew where it was going, and they were just going to keep forcing this one issue in and trying to make it work. So I don't know. I thought it was super contrived.
No, I picked up on that as well because when Kim finally does approach Kris and she gets mad at him, she's not a good actress. She's not a good actress. So you can tell when she's and she was faking it.
Well, she already doesn't show any emotion whatsoever. She's just not an emotional person. And so she plays everything just flat. So even if she is acting to be or pretending to be upset, she can't even get the pretending right.
Oh, come on,
she can't even do make believe. I mean, because honestly,
that's because she has so much Botox that it's very difficult for her face.
That is a low blow. That is a low blow.
You said it, I didn't. I'm out of this.
Unnecessary roughness.
Kim is, I don't care what y'all say, she is still beautiful, killing the game. Botox or not.
Flawless and all,
Perfection.
right?
She is beautiful. It may not be
Perfection.
natural, but she's beautiful. Whatever her doctors did is gorgeous.
Once again, you said it, I didn't.
I have to say, she looks so beautiful, and in news and gossip as well. We have so much to get to because in news and gossip, there's her new perfume ad that we're going to talk about. We're going to have a special segment after the commercial. We're going to debate about the state of the marriage and how it all got started. So until we get to all of that, I really want to talk about
Jackie. Jackie, I just wanted to really quickly cut this in just because we were talking about Kim's plastic surgery, because I just thought this was hilarious. This week they had
Poor Kim.
A poll where they put together every single celebrity's best feature, and it was Gwyneth Paltrow's chin and Kate Middleton's hair and this and that, and they composited what the woman looked like. I swear to God, it looks so much like Kim Kardashian, like the woman, like
the way that
perfect
she
woman
built
from
herself.
Every single feature, and so that only makes me believe even more so that so many of her features are enhanced.
Oh,
well,
no.
I mean, you can see the before and after picture.
Saw
she
that,
looks
Mari,
different.
and I totally agree with you. And what's amazing is that she has said on last season of the Kardashians that she's had no plastic surgery. So
I believe you, Kim. I believe you 100%.
You believe her?
Yes.
You believe her?
Yes, it's natural. Come on now.
Her nose is more contoured and keen now. Her lips are so much more puckery.
my
face
God.
is like
look at a picture of her
voguing.
Come on now, you
can't
can't make such perfection.
Yes, okay. This in Kim's defense, I know tons of people who have gotten face plastic surgery and none of them come out looking as good as hers.
Oh no.
So that she really is a beautiful person that just made herself even more beautiful with her work. But don't try to fool us and say you've never got anything done.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
But I love people to keep her grounded, like Kourtney, who says, the things you eat, I know why your ass and your thighs look the way they do. I mean, that
she was like indulging into some ice cream.
That line. But Kourtney is just so funny. And speaking of Kourtney, she's even funnier when she's with Khloe.
Oh my God, we were just talking about that.
We were literally
just
saying
talking about
she
that.
changes complete energy.
It's so
when
funny.
her sister is, well, they're both sisters, but when Kourtney is around with Khloe, they are just like magnetic. They're
Party
funny.
in a glass.
Yeah, they're a party. And then when she's with Kim, she's just kind of like,
But you know what?
Very
I
prude.
don't really like that about Kourtney, because if you're honestly naturally just a fun,
Kim
outgoing
doesn't bring
person
it out
and
of
you're
her.
like high on life, then you should be like that no matter if you're with a priest. Like, I just don't really like that. So it's kind of weird. Like,
Kim's a little bit more dull and doesn't bring that fun side out of her. What does Kim talk about with her?
I don't know. I just have friends that are super quiet and like introverted. Like, I'm still me. I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna be really introvert and quiet like you, because that's what you do.
I don't think
I'm
she
not
means
gonna do that.
to do that, though. I think
I don't
it's
know.
just
That's weird to
it's
me.
just natural. Probably all her life growing up, they would sit at the dinner table and talk about Kim.
Yeah.
And when Kim's not talking about herself, what is she talking about? So she probably doesn't have that much in common with her sister,
Gotcha.
as opposed to when she's with Kourtney
Fair claim.
and Khloe.
Right. I do think Kim is definitely has the least personality of the three. But before we get to Kourtney and Khloe getting together, we cannot pass over Scott. Talk about party in a glass. Scott in Toronto.
Scott Disick. Is that it? Last name?
Yeah.
Disick? All right.
Yes. Mari, I know you are such a huge Scott fan. From him, saying to Kris his line, you know how long I've waited for somebody in this family to be a real asshole like you. It's fantastic.
That's hilarious.
In the garbage pail to wanting to like
Peeing in the garbage can.
Let's go around and say
I absolutely loved it, Jackie. And you know what? You know how last week we were talking about. I have to say that was my favorite part of the episode, and I commend producers this time, because every single time in the past that they have teased an episode where it's like, oh, Scott's drinking again, we're always like, oh no, what's going to happen? He's drinking again. And then we end up watching the episode and nothing happened. They teased it up too much. Nothing ended up happening. And last week I said, is this going to be another one of those instances where they tease up him with the alcohol for the drama? But it was even better than I imagined. I miss old Scott. I miss him. I thought he was hilarious.
But you know what? They whipped him in the shade.
Yeah, they did.
My only question is, Kourtney was not that upset about Scott going, as we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But I wonder, now that she's seen this footage, and now that this is aired, and now that she knows exactly what he was doing, I wonder if it led to a bigger fight, because I know that she's very, very sensitive about him drinking.
You know what? That's so funny that you brought that up about, like, I wonder, you know, they didn't know what was going on during the taping. I find it really weird that they're saying, okay, I'm going to lie to such and such, but they're not going to find out. Obviously, there's cameras around you if you haven't noticed. Like,
Reality,
really?
folks.
I don't get that. Like, I'm totally going to lie to her, but she's never going to find out.
They'll never find out, even if they see this 6 months later.
Get out of here. I find that kind of funny. Yeah.
That is hilarious to me. But I do love Scott. Out of everybody on the show, he's my absolute favorite because I feel like he is the most authentic. He says what's on his mind, even if it's some asshole stuff. He's super funny. He's entertaining. How many of us have been drunk and peed in a trash can? Come on now.
Not me.
I'm just playing.
I don't know what kind of drinking you do, but
I have peed on the sidewalk before. I couldn't hold it. But, you know, in my drunkenness, me and Scott are right here.
You know, the thing I have to say about Scott, and I say this all the time, is as a viewer, you gotta love him. I mean, I totally do agree with you, Mari, that I wonder if it led to a bigger fight, because as we saw, Kim and Kris had some fake, like, emotionless fight. Kourtney and Scott resolved this the way you think they would. The one thing I'll say about the whole Toronto episode is that Humphries came off totally responsible, besides the fact that he didn't tell her when he jetted off. Okay, that was his mistake. He even said it. He owned up to it. He said he knew he made a mistake with that, but when a guy is told to his face that he can't go and make money while his his wife goes off, I don't really blame him. So here I am looking at Humphrey so far. He doesn't seem to really be doing anything that bad to me. And we're going to get into the second episode now with Kim sneaking off again to her second vacation or second trip away from Kris in what seems like mere days. And I'm not seeing Kris doing anything wrong at this point.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think that part of the reason that Kris isn't to blame also from the first trip that Kim went on is because he mentioned to her that he wanted to go, so he can't be held accountable for her not knowing. But then he didn't tell her in order to rebel. And, you know, when somebody tells us that we can't do something, we're going to push the envelope. And he sees how much of a punk the men in the family are. So he's like, that's not going to be me. I'm going to take a stand. And sometimes you have to let the Kardashian women know, like, I am man, hear me roar. And that's exactly what Kris did. And he was willing to take, you know, accountability for it afterwards because he knew Kim was going to say something. Yeah. But she really didn't care. She was just mad that her Twitter followers knew before her.
But you know what? I thought it was so funny. Hump said, can you please stop stalking me on Twitter?
Stop stalking me on Twitter.
Are you kidding me? That's so funny. She's out on a girl's weekend vacation and she's like totally stalking him on Twitter.
Right. Exactly.
That's
you should have just brought your husband with you.
Right? Then you wouldn't have to stalk him on Twitter.
You wouldn't have time for sex. I'm sorry. Can I just read? Like, they're never together. Never, ever.
Maybe because there's cameras. But then again,
the cameras come off at some point. I mean, it's just hard for me to really believe that she likes him very much.
Aww. Yeah.
And so the second trip to Dubai, she doesn't take him?
Right. We go back and forth about this all the time about Kris. You know, I know you call him not the nicest names, but at this point, him going off to Dubai, their Toronto, Connecticut debacle, where do you stand on Kris? Because I'm really curious to know. I am still not hating Kris at this point.
Yeah, I'm not either.
All right. Jackie's referring to the fact that in the past several episodes, I've referred to Kris in the trio of names, a douchebag, a dick, and a prick. But
wow. Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Blasphemy.
Golly, this is turning into like Kris Humphries like bashing.
I love
My
Kris.
gosh. I have to be like Team Kris
this week,
here.
I have to say that Kim was really the one who was bothering me more because the fact that she went to Dubai without him, she keeps leaving him, and it's like there's something very wrong in a marriage. As Kris Jenner says, like, when you're newlyweds, you're
right.
obsessed with each other. You want to be around each other all the time.
Right.
And so I think it's very inappropriate that she keeps leaving him, that she's leaving him with her sisters, like, alone. That's very unfair to him.
I know, right?
Throwing him into these situations. It's very unfair, and it's very inconsiderate and selfish.
You know what?
And for whatever adjectives I call Kris, I always come back to calling Kim selfish. Always.
I don't think I've recovered from the wedding ceremony, the 4.5 hours that I kind of wasted of my life, like hoping that I was going to tear up and be like, oh my God, I totally want that in my life. Yeah, I don't think I've recovered in, I don't know, Kris and Kim. I just feel like it's been kind of like pointed towards that direction. Like we were, going to be aiming towards, a little bit later. But I feel like the whole last 2 episodes were basically like, this is going down a road of nothingness. So
if I was in a relationship with anyone that went on vacation, an all-expense-paid trip, and I wasn't the first person that they thought of to take with them, who in the hell does that?
Right.
In addition, it's your husband. And if you're going through problems, don't you want to have a couple's retreat as opposed to escaping with your mom? All of their relationships are just kind of weird to me.
Spicy.
Their priorities
Not only
are a
that,
little
but
off-whack.
look at where they went. Let's talk about Dubai for a second.
Magical.
Golly.
First of all, Sex in the City 2.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
For a movie. This was like, Kim truly got to live that Sex in the City 2 trip, except to Dubai, and it was the most amazing thing, from the plane to the suite to the service to the huge crowd there to greet her for like milkshakes in a mall.
She's like the freaking princess of America. I swear. Of Dubai, I should say.
And she doesn't bring
like,
her
who gets
companion.
to do something like that? That is amazing, number one. And number two, she doesn't even want her husband there. And he's not even doing anything wrong at this point in my eyes. So I am so not on board with Kim at this point. She gets to have this, here's how I see it. We're into episode 2 now. She goes off again to an amazing once-in-a-lifetime trip, doesn't want to take her husband, doesn't want to be with him, and expects us to look at Kris in a bad way. At this point, I'm only looking at Kim in a bad way. And I don't mean to say that because I think she seems like a nice person, but I don't think, I do think she's spoiled, and I don't think she thinks about consequences to things. She gets to go on these amazing trips and do all this stuff with no consequences. And so I don't know if I can blame her, but no matter what, I don't agree with her actions. I just think she's totally spoiled at this point.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will argue with that. That was
you stated your claim. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, she gets away with him. And then also, too, her and her mom, I understand that they're very, very close, but she went, it looked like she had
Yaris has not one airbag.
It looked like she had like friends with her. What is that?
Oh, right. Commercial, maybe?
It looked like she had brought friends with her, as opposed to an all-expaid, vacation with her hubby, and even her mom. Her mom could have brought her husband as well. I just feel like they choose to avoid their men whenever they can, and it's not like they're getting into trouble.
First of all, Bruce, someone needs to stay home with Kylie and Kendall, so I don't think it's wrong.
They're old enough. They're like 14, 15.
They're walking the runway. They're not tripping.
I know exactly.
But yeah, I just think the relationship is unfortunately a little bit dull and dry. So Kim's like, oh, that's too much dryness for me. I don't want to have dry on dry. So let me just leave him at home.
Right.
So, And
Mari, I heard you chiming in there. What were your thoughts?
I know. I was just going to say that you were saying, Spicy, that you feel like Kris left her man too, but I was saying that someone needs to stay home with Kendall and Kylie because they're 15 and 16 years old, and so I don't think it's wrong that he stays home.
That's old enough to stay home by yourself.
That is.
Come on now.
I was like babysitting like 2 kids at that age.
Right?
But yeah, that's the Kardashians for you.
Yeah, regardless, seriously, I don't care who I'd have to ditch. If I got a chance to go on that trip, I would be there in a hot second. But
she's like, I'll leave everybody behind.
Can we talk about the comment you brought up earlier? I don't remember who said it, but somebody had mentioned like the weirdness about leaving your husband at home with your sisters. And and the entire time they're trying to have this or develop this relationship with Kris. And in this particular situation, I will give it to them. They were making an effort, and Kris was being a jerk. He was not being receptive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get into the Kourtney-Khloe duo here. Here's the thing, though. They're saying they're making an effort to get to know Kris. That was the whole point of this little segment. But have you ever heard, I can't get mad at them because they're just the funniest two, they're just, I love them. For the Kardashians, I love Kourtney and Khloe. I think they make everything funny and entertaining. But who gets to know somebody by toilet papering their room, putting snakes in their bed?
That was not a prank. The snake, that's ridiculous. That's going like Fear Factor.
That was more for their own entertainment.
Right?
They were wilding out on that one.
That was not.
So
a
I can
prank.
understand why Kris would be annoyed with them. But they originally though, Khloe was asking Kris questions. How do you feel about this? How's the marriage? Like, she was really making an effort to just have, a conversation with him, and he's not giving her anything. So now she's trying to get a rise.
Think about their track record between Khloe and Kris.
Yeah,
like, it
it's pretty
hasn't
bad.
always been rose petals and confetti and toilet paper and all that great stuff. They've been clashing since
Right.
like the beginning of time. So in a way, if somebody's gonna be really ridiculous with you and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want to be friends,
Yeah,
you're gonna be
that's
like,
true.
I don't know what
You're
to
gonna be a
do.
little turned off.
So I don't blame him for that, but he should have, I don't know, sort of kind of gave
He
it
should
up
have been
just a little
receptive
bit.
because he saw that she was making an effort.
Exactly.
And they're going to be, we're supposed to be in each other's lives forever, but I think he kind of knew the entire time, I'm on my way out anyway, so I'm
I
not going
don't
to get to know
need
you.
to talk to you.
He's like, this
Well, I
is
was going to say,
temporary.
the one moment where you thought they might have had to have a heart-to-heart where I would blame Kris for not opening up is the moment where Khloe sat down with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he didn't open up, and he was vague because I truly think he already knew that, and this is why it leads us into our debate that we're going to have over the whole marriage to begin with. But I feel like Kris sensed it all the way along, so how could he have a serious conversation with Khloe at
So
this
true.
point? I don't blame him for not enjoying them putting snakes in his bed and toilet papering his room. You don't know what kind of guy he is. He might be sensitive to that. So, I don't know where I stand on Khloe and Kourtney are hilarious. I don't think they did the best job of getting to know him because even when they did sit down and Khloe tried to have a heart-to-heart, she seemed very on the offense. She seemed very attacking.
That's true.
She is. She definitely
She was
is.
like, so Kris, so what do you think?
She's very condescending. She's very aggressive with her questions. And some of her stuff that she's saying, I wouldn't say that it's inappropriate, but she just doesn't have any tact with it because I think she just doesn't care. And she's not being sensitive to what their
that's
past history
Khloe.
was.
What the heck? What do you expect,
and
right?
don't get me wrong, I
blame-
love Khloe. I just think that she should have, that wasn't like a real heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
She wasn't, if you want somebody who you don't get along with to share with you, you have to share first.
Mm-hmm.
So just asking them random questions about how many people they think
Slept
that their
with.
sister has
Slept
slept with isn't the way to make them feel
That's so
comfortable with
awkward,
you.
first of all. So awkward.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for being. I don't blame him for being so quiet because he's in an uncomfortable situation. This is family. These are people who are around each other all the time, and he's a new person in this situation. And the only person he feels connected to is his wife, and she's left him alone in this situation.
She wasn't even there.
Of course he's going to feel uncomfortable. He's 1,000 miles from home, 1,000 miles from anyone who knows him well, and he's, in a situation with cameras and with someone who hates him, Khloe. I understand why he would be so quiet.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the new kid in school. Everyone's officially
picking
made their
on
clicks,
him.
and he's a newbie. Like, what about me?
That was a great point. He's not really connected to any single person, and I mean, we saw a little bit of it with him and Scott. But what do they really have in common?
Right.
And he's making. I mean, he makes an effort when they're in group settings or whatever. He's sitting around at the dinner table with the family, but nobody's really been warm and receptive to him. Nobody's made him feel welcome and like he's a part of the family.
Exactly.
So every step they take a step back.
Yeah, this whole season was teased through news and gossip. I think we reported it on our first episode that we're going to see in editing how bad Kris really was. And to this point, guys, number one, I'm not seeing it. Number two, if anything, I'm feeling more and more bad for the guy because he keeps getting thrown these curveballs. And I don't think he ever had a shot to begin with. So that leads me to our little debate. We're going to have
TV
Mari
pawn.
Fagel with the LegalLady.com has been taking. Go ahead, Mari.
Sorry, I do want to quickly remind you, because yes, we're hating on Kim this episode, but I don't want to make Kris an angel because he hasn't been this season. I think there have been moments where he's done some things wrong, where he doesn't. I think his problem is he doesn't think before he speaks. When he said to her, "No one's going to care about you in 10 years,"
yeah, during the wedding finale.
Insensitive. And so, or he tells her that she's eaten too much cake, and so he's not an angel here. Just I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, good point. Nice.
I don't think there was anything wrong with his honesty.
I don't think he's an angel, but the thing is I don't think he's veered from who he is from episode 1 or even the wedding. I don't think he's gotten any worse. That's the only thing.
He's true to himself. He's been very consistent.
Very consistent.
Jinx, yes.
Right? You almost said
I think we all agree on that.
He is
we
who he
need a
is.
soundbite for us all agreeing, but I have a feeling we're going to change our tune when we get to our little debate. Mari on thelegallady.com has been taking a poll as to whether or not we think the whole marriage is a sham or if it actually naturally went south. So let's take a quick commercial, and we'll talk that out when we come back.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi. I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
We're back.
Yeah.
We are back. And guys, honestly, this is the question on everybody's mind as you watch technically what was supposed to be the beginning of the end tonight. Was this whole marriage, after watching all of these episodes, I think we're really starting to get to a point where we can all decide a little more clearly, was this whole thing a sham? Was the marriage, the wedding, the huge, as you said, Ruba, you watched 4 hours of your life.
Wasting my life. 4 hours of my life.
But it's great wedding idea.
We are discussing the beginning of the end. And I know Mari Fagel has, on thelegallady.com, that's with 1 L, has been taking a poll as to this exact topic. Mari, do you have those results as we stand now?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I put up this poll right when Kris first filed for annulment, because I was writing about kind of the legal issues behind that. And I put up this poll just because I was curious, and it's interesting to see how it's changed from week to week. So now, where it stands is exactly 50% of voters say that Kim and Kris staged the marriage, 25% say Kim staged the marriage, but Kris had no idea, and 25% say their love was for real, but sometimes things don't work out. So people seem to be pretty split here still.
You know what? I'm going to say that it was staged. I'm going to say maybe 45%, sort of, kind of. The reason why I say that is because, like I said, I watched 4 hours from that wedding ceremony, and I didn't feel connected. It just didn't feel like real love. Like, I watched the Tia and Tamara wedding special as well, and I literally teared up. Like, I literally teared up, and I felt it. But when I watched Kim and Kris, their wedding, I couldn't feel it at all. It just felt too staged and perfect, and something was missing. So when I heard about the annulment, I was like, okay, whoop, there it is. Okay, it was a stage.
And to add to that, last time I checked, love doesn't really last 60 days. You don't just love somebody. I think that I think she liked him. I think he made sense. It was good timing. She needed him at the moment. He kind of needed her. It was like the next thing to do in her life. She's getting older. It just made sense. I think she liked him, and then she fell out of like with him. I don't think that she necessarily was in love with him, because she really didn't know him that well. You can't just, snap your fingers and get married and think that it's just all going to work out. I think Kim kind of saw where it was going. She's like, I like him a whole lot. And then like things started to unravel. And she was like, okay, we started this. Now we have to finish it because, E's invested so much time into our wedding.
And money, ring.
Right. And she wanted to see what it felt like to be married.
I think that they did genuinely, start dating, like each other. It was, at the time, it was for real. They started dating back in November. Lala Anthony introduced them at a game. I thought all that was real. He didn't even appear on the show until the spring.
Yeah.
And so, they had a couple months just to be with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think once he appeared on the show, it all just kind of spiraled. I think that the producers were pushing them to get engaged, were pushing them to get married, and I think that she did like him, and she kind of just was being pushed into this. So she signed up for it, hoping, okay, well, this hopefully it'll work, and they rushed into it too fast, and so I think it's a mix. It was for the show, but I think that they did have like genuine feelings, and I think that the show just kind of sped everything.
Genuine feelings, or you think they loved each other? Because there's a difference from like and love.
Feeling.
So you don't think they loved each other?
They loved each other, but not.
She's like, okay, fine. They love each other.
You say it. Come on, yo. We do not think they loved each other. Because love doesn't. If you really love someone, you fight. Like you go crazy. I never saw them going insane over each other. I never saw the passion. I don't believe them being in love. I think they really did like each other. And once they agreed to, the contract about the marriage, then it was kind of like, okay, we got to finish this season and put a pretty bow on it.
Let me just say this. If Kris were to say to me, 4 years ago, you were working in a boutique, nobody cared about you. Like, if somebody would say that to me, I would have been like, that's more like I'm out to kill you right now, like with words.
Well, I think he was just busting her out. I think he just sees when she gets, self-involved, and he kind of just yanks her little chain.
Try to bring her down back to earth a little bit. But
I think he was trying to just bring her back down.
Yes and no. I guess. I don't know. I just kind of felt like that was a real sniper move of him, and I would have kind of questioned things like, wait a minute, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to bring me back down to earth, or are you just trying to prove to everybody via, television that I got you where I want you and you're just a prop? I don't know. You can take it many ways, but that's the way I took it. So
I think he just says what's on his mind. I don't think that he was meaning to hurt her. I think he was just kind of like fed up, like, come on, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes we have those friends that we got to check, family members that we got to check. And I think that's what he was doing. He was like, you're not going to run all over me. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Right. True that. It can go both ways.
I totally have to agree with you on that. I think that Kris may not always say the right thing. He may not be the first guy I want to,
right.
with.
I'm sure of that.
But he definitely has been consistent, as we said, number one. Number two, I think if anybody seems duped through this whole thing, it's Kris, because I feel like he got swept up into this Kardashian world. I feel like Kim.
Reeled him in.
The thing with Kim is, I want to say it's staged. Here's why I want to say it's staged. And then I'm going to say why, in reality, maybe it's not fully staged. Why I can give your theory, Mari, and everybody some thought is because, first things first, why I think it would be staged is when you see a scene like tonight where Kim is in Dubai, technically before it's the end, and producers are already perfectly staging her pausing in the interview and being like,
right?
Like, how is that already being edited and performed that way when technically they're not supposed to be even close to over yet? So when I see things like that, when I see these trips, consecutive trips being planned, I want to say it's produced and it's planned because you're setting yourself up for failure in these circumstances. But then I look at it like, when I call Kim spoiled, I'm actually using that as a defense for her because I think she, as Khloe has said, she falls in love hard, just like that all the time. And she has no reason to have to face any consequences to these decisions. So maybe she really did make these decisions on a whim and say, oh, I'm ready for a huge wedding. Oh, I'm ready to marry Kris and do all these things because look at this now. What is she really facing as far as consequences go for getting married so quick, getting divorced so quick? She's still living her fabulous life, and it's almost like she's not even affected. I mean, people are saying she's sad and upset and whatever. I think she's just, I don't know that she's so sad and upset. She seems kind of fine to me. She's changing her hair up. She's going on.
I agree, because the moment the news dropped about the whole annulment, we see a picture of her in the club with Reggie Bush. Really?
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, in her defense, because just in case this love was real, in her defense, when we have a breakup and we're in pain, what do? We date other people, we switch our hair up, we get makeovers, we're at the massage parlor. Like, she was doing what you do in a normal breakup, trying to get over her ex.
I don't know. I'm sorry, when you marry somebody, there has to be some deep, heartfelt love. And
not in Hollywood.
I don't know. To me, it just seems like the way they try to set it up, especially with the wedding ceremony, everything, you would think that she was that much in love. So for her to end the marriage so quickly and then move on or be seen out with an ex, partying it up, I don't know. Maybe she's acting out, being rebellious.
Yeah, but I feel like that's every single person. The moment I have a breakup, I kid you not, my friends will take me out. We are partying. I call up all the old booze.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, and
Shame
I kid
on
you
you.
not. Hey, man. Spice
Shame
somebody.
on you.
And that's all the kid was doing. Probably trying to get over.
TV exclusive.
Exclusive.
You heard it first.
The other thing you guys mentioned that I don't want to get away from, too, is that I say this all the time. I've been on reality shows. I've been in front of the camera. You cannot lie on the camera. It's like a magnifying lens. You cannot fake emotions. We say she's a bad actress, all these things, because you cannot fake emotions. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I'll agree with you guys on is that there were dead emotions in that 4-hour special of the fairy tale wedding.
Exactly.
The emotions were dead for me. But here's the thing that I want to say actually in Kim's defense on this. I actually have somebody very close to me that had a huge, beautiful wedding that actually did go south pretty quickly. And you sometimes get caught up in the fairy tale of things, and then you saw it on through the ceremony that something was missing. Yeah. And this really did happen to somebody that I know, and she thought she was going to have a wonderful life, and it was almost almost the same situation. So it does happen where she really could have gotten swept up in it. We saw it on the fairy tale wedding because it wasn't there as far as emotions, and now she has to get out of it. It's possible that she just got swept up and had to get out of it, and producers had to set it up that way.
And it worked out. It worked out fine. She's probably going through it right now, but they're not showing us that. They're not showing us her agony. They're showing, we're seeing her having a good old time. And I'm pretty sure as a publicity stunt, she'll be in a relationship soon enough, because that's always how it works. Whenever there's a breakup, we see you with somebody else 10 times more interesting than your ex.
They don't say X, they say
but I
next.
think that Kim will be much slower, or I hope that she'll be much slower into jumping into a new relationship, because she has been criticized like no other for, dissolving this marriage so fast. I mean, she was voted, what was that, Jackie? Like the least classy person in America.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Kim Middleton was the most classy.
Wow.
And so I think that she needs to be very careful about when she dates next and who she dates next, because people just think that she treats marriage like it's a joke, and she treats guys like they're a joke, and so she needs to be very careful. She's been taking it very easy since she announced the divorce. She's been living in her mom's home. She hasn't been doing that. She does her paid appearances, but beyond that, she's been keeping for Kim Kardashian a relatively low profile. So
but what happens if she's not careful?
Whoever she chooses next, she'll have to
You
be
mentioned
careful.
earlier there's no consequence. What happens if she jumps into another relationship? What are we going to do to her? Nothing. We're still going to tweet at her.
Like, oh my God,
we're still going to watch her show.
Now,
So there's still no consequence. She can turn up with Tom Cruise tomorrow, and we would not blame her.
People really think that she just does things for the show, and that she's making a joke of marriage and of this and that. People will slowly stop watching and become disenchanted with the Kardashian franchise, and so they need to be careful of that.
You know what? I totally agree with you on that one. Like I said, even from the beginning, I'm Team Kim all day. But as the episode kept going, I was like, you know what? I'm not so involved in loving them right now, because I just felt like, I don't know, it's kind of like the same formula we're seeing, and can this continue for another couple seasons? I'm not too sure about that.
I think that it's more interesting to watch her failed relationships than it is to watch her happily in love. And that's
terrible.
America, folks. We want to see the drama. We want to see the mistakes. We want to see the flops. Us seeing Kim on a sanded beach with somebody that she's in love with. I mean, look how amazingly energetic she already is. Not. So Do you really expect to see her in this like magical relationship when we're just happy about it? Were you guys really happy when she was with Kris?
I think we all kind of hated her. I thought it was beautiful. It was like a love-hate kind of thing. Like, oh, Kim's so flawless. She has this guy, and everything's great. I hate him, but I love him at the same time. So, I don't know. It's up to you.
We're going to keep seeing her have these flop relationships. I'm sorry. It's Hollywood. It's life. Every actor, every reality star, every single person goes through this. Every normal human that is not even in the entertainment industry goes through this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether it's real or not, it's relatable.
True that.
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, I think that the reason I didn't like seeing them together is because, and obviously we didn't have to watch it for that long, is because I didn't feel it. And obviously, look at what happened. I just have to share, by the way, and we're going to keep taking the results of that poll every week, so be sure to vote on thelegallady.com with 1L and tweet us your opinions. I know that Ruba is at I Am Ruba's World, and I am Jackie Miranne,
nice
and
plug.
we have the Legal Lady tweet. And Spicy Mari, what's your Twitter?
My Twitter is at SPICY_MARI. Spicy _ Mari.
Tweet us your thoughts on this debate.
Let us know. This is getting a little dangerous.
I know.
Right?
Ow.
And also tweet us at AfterBuzz TV. But, it's interesting you said about we're going to stop watching if we don't like what Kim's doing. I think we need to get into some news and gossip now because I have a pretty juicy story about that exact thing, and the website started against Kim and what's going on with that. So let's get into some news and gossip now.
All right, news and gossip.
TV news.
So there's a website called boycottkim.com.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard about that.
Yeah, it appears to be roiling its intended target. The online petition asks signers to stop doing business with the companies that do business with Kim Kardashian, and it has attracted more than 500,000 signatures already.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Now, why is
the
this?
website's California-based founder, who obviously has requested anonymity, was only hoping to reach 350,000 signatures. Obviously, 213,000 more have come in, and obviously that has the Kardashian clan not very happy.
Where are their lawyers?
By the way, Jackie,
Right.
Jackie and fans, for those of you listening, I have pulled it up. For those of you watching, obviously you can see it. Unfortunately, Ruba and Spicy cannot.
Darn. We can't see
I want to
it.
see this. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't know if this is haterism or did they actually do something?
I have to. You guys can see it on your own. I have to protect your eyes. Okay. I have to protect your eyes.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks, Phil.
Why was this created?
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm seeing it. And, according to the founder, shortly after he added some features, he was contacted by Kardashian's family, and I think we're seeing the features right now. He was contacted by Kardashian's family's counsel, and he claims that the counsel told him that another lawyer who represents the family, Martin Singer, intended to file criminal harassment complaints against him.
Okay.
Basically, the founder says they try to scare you because they don't want bad publicity, but he doesn't seem too worried about it because he's actually going on to try and now get 1 million signatures. He says that the reality star and her family are a stain on our culture, an embarrassment for our country.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's terrible.
So he's,
but that's the beauty of free speech in this country.
Exactly.
Because there's absolutely no way that the Kardashians would ever successfully win a lawsuit or shut down this site.
Freedom of speech, right?
While they may be threatening him and telling him that the Kardashians' big team of lawyers are coming after them, those are just veiled threats. And so, what's interesting, though, is this exact guy who started this petition tweeted at me. I wrote an article in Huffington Post right after the annulment about, is this show, how the annulment filing and Kourtney's pregnancy were announced in the exact same week. Was it for ratings? And he tweeted at me and wanted me to retweet this petition. I decided not to because I love the Kardashians, and just because I think that the
Bias,
show
maybe?
made mistakes some of the time, I still like watching it. So I didn't retweet it, but it's funny to see now,
That's so funny.
after he tweeted me, how big it's gotten.
What's crazy is that he doesn't like the Kardashians and he created this website. which is bringing additional publicity, although it may be negative, is bringing additional publicity their way.
Yeah.
Well, their way as well. And he is an example, although he may not like them, of someone who is obsessed with them.
When
you create a website about a group of girls he doesn't probably even know, that's called haterism. In addition, he wants everybody else, if you hate them too, agree with me. I kind of think that he's feeding into this whole, drama. I think he's another example of someone who's obsessed with them, just in a negative way.
Yeah. But you get that, right? You totally get that during, anytime you're in the public eye. Come on now.
Yeah, but I mean, what have they ever done to him? Like, for real? Yes, they're a bad example of American culture. Okay, we're superficial. Yeah. We already know that. But, like, he could be devoting his energy to, like, feeding the hungry, and instead he's going against the Kardashians.
By no means, I'm not trying to like defend him at all, but I just thought that was
like, what is he doing with his life to where the Kardashians are hurting him that much?
No, they're a disgrace to the American race. That's what they are.
Who made him the voice of America? Like, I'm sorry.
The thing is,
God bless
at
it.
the end of the day, we obviously share our opinions, but I'm not one for like, sort of like trying to attack or negatively kind of put energy out there in this way. I'm not a huge fan of that, but the thing is that amazes me and why I shared this story is how many people got on board with this, which just goes to show how the public is reacting to this whole thing, because that's what I'm curious about. I'm curious to know what people think about Kim right now and the whole situation. Because people are watching, but are they watching for good reasons or bad reasons? So just an interesting sign of how many people have joined on board with this website. Not that I'm necessarily supporting it one way or the other, but it's definitely amazing how it really is igniting something in a lot of people here.
You know what?
So good or bad.
I just don't understand what they're standing up against. What are you guys standing up against? I don't understand.
I just find this kind of funny. I feel like, Hollywood will bring you up and they will tear you down in 2 seconds. And that's just, the public eye. That's, what they're doing. Obviously, 500,000 signatures on this petition. That's huge.
To what? Signatures to get rid of the show? Like, don't do business with the Kardashians?
I guess they're over them. That's their way of saying we're over it. The jig's up. The jig's up, Toots.
It's like trying to take down the prom queen. I'm sorry. This is like ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, despite the messiness, despite the boycottkim.com, Kim, I do have to say, she seems to be keeping her head high, and she obviously, walked out with her new look, and now she's kicking things off with her new perfume launch. Yep. And I have to say, Bill, I don't know if you have the picture to show on Ustream, but she does look quite gorgeous. Plastic surgery, airbrushing, whatnot.
What picture do you want, Jackie?
Awesome.
She won't let it go. Plastic surgery.
What's that,
what picture do you want me to bring up?
Oh, it was on the email for News and Gossip. We had the picture of Kim's new fragrance, but of course you could check it out because she tweeted it as well to her 12.3 million followers, by the way. And it's a new ad campaign called True Reflection. She said it comes out in the spring, and it's so different than her other fragrances.
Didn't she tweet about that? She actually took a picture of that and sent it to all her followers, right? Gave them a sneak peek into her new perfume line, right?
Yes. And I do have to say, I thought she looked quite gorgeous. Yeah. She was channeling Elizabeth Taylor, who is one of her icons, and it's joining the roster of her already existing perfumes, Kim Kardashian Gold, and Kim Kardashian Love, which
there you go, Jackie. It's on the screen for you. Not in perfect form.
She's a great brand.
I think she's a great example of America. She's creating a brand and then capitalizing on that. Yeah. I mean, come on now. You can't blame her for doing what every single other artist does. She just didn't happen to have talent, so she used her beauty.
She does have the talent. She's a businesswoman.
Now she has the talent. Now she has a business. But prior she didn't. Prior she was just a personality on television that knew she had a lot of followers because she was beautiful and her sisters were entertaining, and she did something with that. She took
Can't we just call her a model? Point blank.
No, but I have to say,
she's a model.
She's been a face.
Gorgeous.
Right?
She's a model now.
There you go. Kim Kardashian, the model.
I have to say, in tonight's episode, just quickly, when she thought that Christopher Columbus occurred in
I'm bad at history.
1800s or the 1700s and didn't know, I thought to myself, thank God she has created the brand she has.
Right. She has the right business people behind her.
Upon
I didn't know she was right or wrong.
Thank God for her mother.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
thank
was
God
a
for
close call.
Kris
That was a bad. That was should have been edited.
Oh.
But oh well.
I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. She had her
owns
Jessica
up to who
Simpson
she
moment.
is.
Yeah, dingy moment. We love it.
We feed into that. We feed
Guys,
into it.
listen to this one though. Amber Rose is calling Kim Kardashian a cheater.
Nice.
Saying
Homewrecker.
that the curvaceous 28-year-old has been pretty quiet about her high-profile split with rapper Kanye West back in 2010 until now, because
Juicy.
she's saying,
what was that?
why me and Kanye are not together. She's a homewrecker. She claims that Kim's cheating ended her relationship with NFL star Reggie Bush, and she went on to say they were both cheating. They were both cheating on me and Reggie with each other. She was sending pictures, and I was like, Kim, just stop. Don't be that person. And although she tried to reach out to Kim via email, Amber alleges that she never heard a word back from the reality starlet. She went on to say, I thought at least she'd be woman enough to respond to me, said Rose. She never responded. It's very important that women stick together and we don't believe each other over like that.
This is insane.
So,
Wait. You have the
Spicy.
ex-stripper emailing Kim Kardashian, the reality star, to stop cheating on her man with...
This is too messy for me.
I don't get that.
It's confusing.
That makes no sense whatsoever in my mind, that you would ask somebody to please stop cheating with my man.
Thank you.
Because I still want him after you are done cheating with him. Can you please save some for me?
This
That makes
is in
no
regards
sense.
to her breakup with Kanye, which everyone's like, why is she bringing this up now? And it went on to say that now is that she's with Wiz Khalifa, who's her new boyfriend.
The rapper, yeah.
They're releasing a single called Fame, and it's about to drop, and everyone thinks that this is why she brought this up, to get some attention and target Kim. So whether or not it's the truth, apparently she's bringing it up now to get some attention for her new single.
Okay.
Anytime you put your private business in the streets, it's for attention. There's no other explanation than a cry for help. Somebody look at me and somebody hear me.
Well, people love it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, they love it.
Where did you find that at? Where'd you read that at?
That was actually on a few sites that came up just recently. She was actually tweeted also. She said, after being asked the same question over and over in every interview for so long, I had to be honest and get this off my chest. I don't lie. I don't embellish. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. Just setting the record straight. Fame, and she obviously did a hashtag with Fame because that's the name of her single. Fame is a crazy thing, but I'm so thankful I have an amazing husband that loves and supports me to the fullest. He's my angel and my soulmate. So she tweeted that in response to the story. So I don't know. I think it may be true, not true, whatever, but for her to bring it up now out of nowhere while she knows all this stuff that's going on with Kim, I mean,
true.
For her own personal gain, I'm
Jumping
not
on
really
the
a fan of
bandwagon.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to make something relevant that isn't relevant right now.
I'm not too fond
I'm not
of
buying
Miss
it.
She should have
Amber
used that
Rose on
material
one.
back when we were interested.
Right?
It's
Maybe
not
like
working.
a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah. Her publicist steered her in the wrong direction.
Right? Bad timing, bad timing.
Right. But that's
Well,
an
guys,
interesting fact, though. That's good to
We
know.
said that Kim Kardashian is not the best actress, but apparently she's becoming a sitcom star very soon on Last Man Standing.
Tim
'cause
Allen.
She as well tweeted about this, that she just finished rehearsing for Tim Allen's upcoming comedy, Last Man Standing, and yes, beware people, she's putting her acting chops out there for all of us to watch. On Friday, she took to Twitter and wrote, just finished rehearsal and table read for Last Man Standing. Such a funny show. And she added a link to a photo of her holding up the Last Man Standing script.
Great.
So will you be watching?
Of course. You want to see how she does.
Yeah.
Of course.
But you know what? I actually think this time around, she's probably going to kill it because after looking at the previews for the next Khloe and Kim, she was crying. So I think all this is fake, but evidently she shed some tears. So her acting chops must have gotten better. So, I think it's going to be amazing.
But have you guys
That's
ever
funny.
seen a disaster movie?
Yeah, she was in it.
Yeah, she was awesome in it. So what do you mean she doesn't have acting chops?
I did not say, Phil. I did not say she doesn't have the acting chops. I'm just saying that I'm sure over the last couple of years they've gotten better. And judging from the previews from Kourtney and Kim, they've excelled.
Phil, you're defending her acting, Phil? Are you
I'm
really
just saying Disaster
acting?
Movie was an epic, awesome movie.
It's not hard to be in a disaster movie. That was not a hard role. I don't think she stretched herself to the limits.
Maybe she's better off acting than acting on her reality show.
Oh, no.
But why don't we get into some predictions, speaking of the previews next week?
Ooh, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, okay, the end is, I guess, continuing to end, and it seems like lots is going on with Kim. Drama. You know, we hear Kris saying he could care less about something, and Kim finally, you know, says, well, soundbite, my heart is telling me that I did this too fast.
I can't do this.
So, what do you guys think for next week?
I personally think that they're going to end their marriage. I really do. I do.
So
I'm just
smart.
saying, you know, I just think that Kim is going to be like, you know, I can't
good.
do this. And, you know, we're 6 months in and it's just a wrap. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that
you agree with me, Spicy?
I totally agree. You're brilliant. I think that we're gonna probably see her mom, Kris, kind of you know, talk about it with her a little bit more and just kind of give her affirmation that it's okay, that she has her blessing to let Kris go, and then that's gonna be, you know, the kind of the momentum that Kim needs in order to start the divorce papers. Because she didn't even want to change her name.
You know what I'm
like,
so true.
She knew what she was doing.
Totally
her
foreshadowed.
And Khloe and what's going to happen between the two of them, because I'm waiting for that moment where Khloe says, I told you so, and Kim says, I'm sorry, you were right, I should have trusted you. So I don't know if that moment's going to happen, but I'm waiting for that moment to happen. But just so we remind viewers, next Sunday is the Golden Globes, and I'm sure we will be having a fabulous after show for the Golden Globes. But unfortunately, no Kim and Kourtney take New York next Sunday, so we'll be back in 2 Sundays to be discussing all of the divorce drama.
Well, look how long we you know, we kind of had our doubts a little bit about Khloe and Lamar.
Yeah.
And look at how long they've lasted. I mean, I'm really surprised. I believe their love now. Like, I actually
You know
believe
what?
it.
That's real to me. I'm sorry. I think she loves that man. I think that man loves
for each
her.
other.
For real. Honestly, that's true love, and I hope to God that they don't, you know, give into that
But
reality.
we never
myth.
saw that with her and Kris. We were waiting for like something,
Right?
Just a
There was
something.
nothing
Just give
there.
me something.
Yeah.
And they
That's
didn't
the
do it.
main of it all. I think it's going to end next week, or in 2 weeks rather. And the saddest thing that will be for me is we never even saw them have a chance, and that's really what bothers me about the whole thing. But as Mari said, we're going to have to wait 2 weeks because we will have the fabulous Golden Globes to watch.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back with, I guess, the end of Kim and Kris on Kourtney and Kim Take New York. But we'll be here to talk about it on AfterBuzz TV. And thank you so much to our new hosts, Ruba and Spicy Mari.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing.
Of course, Mari Fagel. Thank you as always. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Let's do it.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.